Let's see that everything's working. Okay. Let's see. We are getting started. Okay, it seems we are live. I'm going to cut video here. See that it's working. It is. Hi, everyone. Been a while because I didn't have reliable internet. I didn't even have the internet access at home for a little while. And today we are going to do some Godot game development for a short while. Let's see, I'm going to place my face down. And hey everyone, yes, I am in Japan right now. Still living in Kansai. So, I'll look for a few more persons to join to give you a few news. But in the meantime, we are going to work on a few refinements for the prototype. I'm going to introduce you to the project if you've never seen it or haven't seen it yet. And I'm going to work on some camera input handling improvements and a few bugs as well. I have one or two things to work on right now. So we are working on the project for the next Godot course. The camera is a bit jiggly, so that's why we are going to work on it today. And it's our Metroidvania project. We're not going with the most classic setup because we figured we could teach some more interesting programming techniques and game design techniques and methods by sorry if you hear the cars, it's quite noisy here actually. So we figured we could teach some more interesting game design techniques and level design, etc. by going just slightly more creative than doing the most basic thing. So things like, see with the hook shot I have here, I can replicate it. Let me see, I haven't implemented the restart in this demo. You'll see it in the, there you go. You can see when I hook onto a platform and I just barely get to it, you got an auto ledge grab and the character climbing on it, those kinds of things. So we want to add those small refinements to the game, and having a creative mechanic makes it so. Let me get the gamepad so we can talk about input handling, how you choose your buttons. Come on, what happened? I just checked out. How come? Get aim, joystick direction. It's control utils. I think I checked out maybe the, no, it's auto loaded. Okay, I've got to restart the game because I was checking the changes by my teammate PigDev. So let's see. Come on. Well, I'm going to do a quick fix here. Otherwise I can't use the gamepad in this session, which would be a problem. Get aim, joystick direction, uses the, yeah, okay, should be fine for now. Let's see. Okay. It happens in the hook as well. That's why I moved it to an auto-loaded script. Come on. Okay, let's try to remove and add this again. You'll see the project looks a bit messy right now. That's completely normal because I'm, well, just prototyping. And controls utils. There we go. Add you back. Let's see. How come you don't get it? It's an auto-loaded script. Let's try to make you non-static. I don't know why we're getting this bug here. Let me see. Okay, let's try to do a hard reset. Actually, I should quit the project before doing that. Okay, hard reset. Does this stream go to Twitch as well? Nope. No. Only YouTube. Godot detects the script, I can get to it. Maybe there's a problem with the cache or something like that. Okay, I'm going to... Oh, but I'm going to be work on the camera rig and the hook. Okay. Okay, camera rig, camera and the hook. Okay. I'm really going to be working today. It's more of a test stream to test the stability of the stream, see if everything's working well from here. Hi, Grabby? How do you... Greeby? Please tell me if it's the correct pronunciation for your nickname. Let's see now. Okay, now it's... Okay, so now I can finally use the gamepad, and my gamepad is broken, but you can see a few mechanics from the game. So it's going to be a fairly nervous game. Someone's asking if I like GNOME. Yes. It's working well. So, let's talk about this project, what we have. We have a character that can jump, move around with a hook. We have a responsive camera, snapping hook detector here that tries to find the best snapping target based on where you are looking. So you can see it's the blue area that does that. We have ledge detection, grabbing, and a camera that uses your look direction to look around, and it's a bit too nervous. So that's one of the first things I want to fix. In the prototype as well, yeah, it's hard to catch hooks sometimes when you have setups like these. So I checked Guilherme's level design work, and I had a bit of trouble catching the hooks going up, so doing things like these. I should hide the zero gravity area, it's not implemented yet. Let's see. So we're going to add a bit of a playground here with hooks everywhere and play a bit in the air, because one of the ideas with this game is that you're going to have quite a lot of the ability to stay in the air, and I want to have a vertical level design. I want us to cover some of these things, and so one of the issues is how sometimes when if you tap really quickly, here the hooks are really close, so it's not a problem, but sometimes you miss the hooks because you tap right before the detect area. You could see I missed the last hook here, although I tapped and it felt like I was onto the hook, but I was not. I was just missing it by one frame or a few pixels, and so this is a topic I want to cover in the course. We're going to talk about platforming, those kinds of things, how to make a platformer feel good, and cover the game design part and the code part, how you make the game feel fair, the challenges feel fair, and actually in games often it's done with quite a lot of hacks that you feel like you are in control, but the game is actually helping you in lots of platform games. Like it's storing the inputs and you tap at some point, but the game gives you a few frames. It's like the rhythm games. You know, you can get a perfect by tapping at a certain time, but actually you have a 0.05 seconds time frame where you get a perfect, maybe a little more. It's going to be the same, and it's the same for most platformers. Okay, there are a few persons around. I want to just say a few news before continuing with the code. I'll be away for 10 days roughly. I'm going on holidays tomorrow. There are some videos coming on the channel in the meantime, just a few. What else? That's about it. There you go. You can follow the progress on the project down in the video description by following us on GitHub, and I'll try to do some more news videos. And we are so this is funded by our last Kickstarter, and a lot of the content, the tutorials you saw on the channel were funded by the backers. As usual, we are trying to do at least 50% free content, including the code. So the code for this project will be free and open source. And the new features in Godot 3.1 series is not done just yet. We have the 3D part to do, but we are waiting to get an animated character for that. And on this project, we're going to start with the free tutorial series as well. So this one, it's going to be a course, and part of it is going to be paid for, but we're also covering the basics of Metroidvanias as a completely free course that will be available even from the Godot documentation. Still video based on videos and source code, but it will be available from the documentation. Okay, so a few issues that we have. We need to do a few things. One, the camera updates instantly as you move around, and it doesn't feel too smooth. I think if you jiggle too much, let's see with the controller, yeah, you can see how it could make you feel a bit sick. I can imagine that. The problem is, and especially the look direction reverts to the right, so that's the first thing we are going to fix here. Look direction should be on character. And you can already find all the source code in the video description. Everything is open source as we do it this time around. If you have any questions as well, this stream is for that. Going to be live for 1 hour roughly. And so let's see. Come on. Okay, I'm going to unplug that and allow me to restart Godot because I have a little bug. Can I search? Okay, so we want input direction. Okay, move direction. Nope. Actually, I think I want to go to physics process. Where is my integrate? Oh, I'm on the wrong demo. This one is the one I want to work with. So let's look at physics process. Based on the move direction, is move direction times max speed ground. Okay, so if it's equal to 0, how is the look direction? There's a problem with the character's direction reverting when I go left with the controller. Camera goes left, and then the character goes back to looking to the right. So I've got to figure out why this happens. And I'm not sure. That's the first reason why the camera feels bad with the controller. So I think it could use a fix. Doesn't seem to be linked. Well, if it's, let's look at the camera rig here. Okay, so if we are with the get aim joystick direction times offset, I see. when I release the joystick, it actually jumps back to 0. So I can't use the joystick's direction instantly. I have to process it. Let me see how I can do that. Okay, so prototyping code. How come is the default value would be 1? Okay, so that's not the problem. The problem is I have to check is joy button pressed, and let's see, device is 0, I think, and it's joy axis. Can we press? Should be axis 3. My setup. Okay, it's not a button. Ah. Okay, so the key with joystick doesn't work if it's pressed. Let's see. Hello. We have some people from all around the world. It's pretty amazing. How can we do that? Because the the idea was to decouple the camera from the character, so I don't want it to be tracking the velocity, but maybe I'll have to use different camera settings based on the character's velocity. Oh, actually we get the velocity, it's the character that's calling it. So if camera.position, okay, so camera.position.x is going to use the sign of velocity.x based on the character's velocity. But that's going to use to give me 1 or -1, so I think it's offset.x, and camera position.y would be joystick direction.y times offset.y. I don't think it's going to work just like that. Sign of when you stop the character, it stops. Okay, so I have to check as well that we only do that if we have an x velocity, or if the absolute value, well, if x velocity.x might create some bug. Yeah, okay, now it starts to look like something. If I go to the left, the camera looks to the left. If I go to the right, it looks to the right. And doesn't jump around too much. Sometimes if I really if I really try to make the joystick snap like so, I do get a slight the joystick going slightly to the right, so we've got to work with some dead zone. The joystick's dead zone. Okay, so one thing we could use instead of the, okay, we can do it like that. If, hold on, Get joy axis. Let's see. I have to check this value actually. I'm going to put a breakpoint there. And there it goes. Joystick direction. Okay, that's what I thought. It gives me the strength. Can I get an axis dead zone? Only with the input actions, it seems. But okay, if absolute value of joystick direction.x is greater than, let's say, the dead zone threshold, I'm going to add a new variable up there. What was the order already? Okay, so we use the joystick, but if it snaps a little bit and goes past the center just a little bit, it's not going to mess the camera anymore. Then we still use... Do we use the input or the velocity of the character? Let's see. I've got to do some tests with air direction. Ah, I got to remove the breakpoint now. That's the problem. I'm going to hide the left bar so the text expands a little bit. Normally, absolute value is greater than dead zone threshold. We update the camera's position. Sign of... Let's try... I don't want to use the... It's going to be too instantified. Did you turn off? Ah, don't tell me I don't have batteries. No batteries left. Okay, I've got to plug the controller. Should have some Super Metroid music playing. Yep, except you can't live stream like that and use music you don't have the right to use. So this stream music and the music I use in all my videos is made by a good friend. Okay, well, you plug in. This controller is messed up. I think it's a bit broken now. Got to change it. Let's see, I'm going to plug you down there. All right. Why do you snap back to 0? The dead zone, the inputs value should be, let me see. All right. There are a few questions. Nice and quick twin node tutorial. Well, people helping one another. Okay, there's a problem with the USB port apparently as well. It reconnects. Parody music is totally usable. Yeah, but I think it'll be fine for today. Okay, so let's see this value. I'd like to... I have to make a system, like an auto-loaded system where we can add these info labels automatically and display information on screen from anywhere in the game in debug mode. We'll have to get working. Actually, I'm going to take note of that. Launch Emacs and write that down before I forget. Let's just do notes. we're going to work on debug tools and the debug panel. I have a few more notes somewhere about what debug tools to add, and actually if we have the time, I'd like to cover that as an extra module for the course, but you can find the link to the music, to the artist in the video description. Okay, so allow me to do that, and let's look at the joystick direction. Of course, it's checking it constantly until I place the cursor on the mouse. Okay, we're going to do the good old dirty print. For now, it will do the trick. Okay. So let's see what happens. Value goes back to 1 when you release the joystick. Even though the joystick doesn't go back to the right, so it's not reliable. It's funny because when you use the get inputs, it's really, I haven't worked too much with joysticks because I didn't have a game controller to play with in the past. But let me see. So what can we use? The velocity of the character is reliable because I'm calculating it myself. What else do we have? Input dot is action pressed. Actually, yeah, that would be the simplest. And we're going to have, is it aim? I have a few possible ways of handling this. So right now it's constant updates, and let's see if I don't want to keep that. Okay, move right doesn't work. Why is that? Goes to the left. So looking up and down is dynamic now, but looking left and right should update when you go left and right, and only update if one of the inputs are pressed. But let's see, what are these input actions doing? Do they check for the both check for the joystick move right? It does. Left stick right. Okay, I have a bit of an issue. I don't know if it's a bug in Godot or calibration, but this input event is not working. Does someone know? Can we read, like, show variables in the profiler? Well, I can debug function calls, but I'd have to check what we can export in there. Did I? Okay, thank you. Makes sense. Thank you. Someone told me I was checking for move left twice, and that was the problem. Okay. Okay, seems to not be too bad. Still a bit violent, so maybe the smoothing on the camera needs to be a bit nicer. Is the camera? No, it's still in the character. It's not its own scene. Should be though. Save the camera rig as a separate scene. Alright, so the camera smoothing. Hold on, the speed, how does it work? In pixels per second. Okay, so if we lower it, let's see, we're going to keep this on top. Does it update? Sync scene changes is up, but I'm not sure it's updating because it's going quite fast, even after saving. I don't feel a difference. Let's see if I restart, because it's good. Yeah, it should be really slow, right? I don't know how this can't be pixels per second though, because the smoothing slows down progressively. Speed in pixels per second of the camera smoothing effect. I don't know what that could mean, but okay, so I've got to... It doesn't update live here. With value of 4, it's a bit better than with the value of 6. It's less violent. So I'm relying on the node's built-in smoothing feature to save time. And I think it will do the trick. So now let's see. One thing I want to see, I've really got to implement the restart as well. Very simple one, but let's add a script up there. And when we press a restart key, I'm going to add a restart input event. We're going to reload. Let's see, is it on get tree? Dot reload the current scene. Okay, and that should be it. We don't need to consume the event, I think. This one is going to reload anyway. And add a restart action to the input map. Let's put it on... yeah, I will do the trick. Okay. Okay, so you can see it's based on the character's velocity, so when I change direction it does not mid-air, it does not instantly update. So if I tap the gamepad, it's not going to jiggle around due to the way air control works. So if I'm going in one direction, it's still going to look ahead. Then the question is, I think I would need to check for the player's state to have the camera look in the right direction. So when you are falling, you want to go down a little bit, and when you are hooking up, maybe look up a little bit. Maybe based on some thresholds regarding based on the velocity. Hold on, there are some questions. I would ask that maybe for taboo. I need something. What? I work with several languages at the same time, recently GDScript, and I need something that gives me focus and attention. I often get distracted too easily and miss hours I might be programming. Do you take any vitamins that increase brain performances? Okay, here's my take on it. It's yeah, as Ravanin says, it's we each have a personal way of solving these. You can't take pills or anything to give you focus. Caffeine makes you more excited. It does not make you that much more alert, etc. If you are tired, it makes you feel worse and perform worse. If your problem is you're jumping around too much, you want to take things away from your life, I think that's quite useful. And then I highly recommend things like turning off the internet when you're working. Even if you sometimes miss resources or those kinds of things, you write them down if you are blocked by some task or on some question, and working on one thing at a time. Scheduling, as explained here, is also a good way. I do use, not every single day, but I do use a schedule that I prepare in the morning, first thing around 6:30 to 7, and I will create time chunks of at least 30 minutes, in general 1 to 2 hours, where I'm focusing on just one thing, often a video or something. So yesterday I spent 4 hours working on the Krita new features in Krita 4.2, and there's quite a lot to say about that. I've actually written a script for a video to talk about productivity and how to be very productive. But focus, the things that help the most is taking everything that distracts you away from you. So the internet is the first thing. I use the airplane mode when I'm working, and I use the airplane mode on my phone as well. My phone is always in silent mode. I don't check my emails more than lately if I'm distracted 2, 3, 4 times a day, normally once a day, and answering the comments on YouTube, etc. Same thing. I don't log in on the Discord chat that often anymore, and it turns out that it doesn't cause any problem. One colleague was telling me how he felt that he has to respond to clients very quickly. In my experience, it's not the case. People can wait 1 day for a reply, no problem. And if you have someone who can't, well, it's okay, you lose a client, but you gain so much in productivity that it really doesn't matter. And then there's everything: sleeping well, having a good life balance, doing sports, meditation can help. These things you've got to see for yourself. Making sure your diet is very balanced, that you don't eat too much. The physiology is the first thing that distracts you in general. So if you eat too much, you can't focus properly. You can't be at your full performances. Removing all notifications is really good. So Raven is saying one thing that works is taking small breaks every 15 minutes. People talk about the Pomodoro method. I think if you need to do that, it's a sign that you have some issues with focus, and that you can train it to get much better focus. I can work. For me, the sweet spot is 2-hour sessions, focusing on a single task. Really continuous work. If it's really hard on the mind or very repetitive, 1 hour, something like that. But if I go under that, I try to think about what I did wrong that day. Probably drink a bit too much coffee. Maybe the task is not clear. Actually, we have an interview there, but excellent advice from Altro, actually. Creating a secondary user account where you remove the games and distractions. You log into that account to work. And one thing I can recommend is not scheduling just the time you work, but scheduling the time you allow yourself to access the internet. So any info that you need to search, every time you stumble upon a problem, first you want to have tools like Hlsl or offline manuals. If you are working, for example, with my text editor Emacs, I can do Control-H-I, and I have all my manuals here offline in the program. It's kind of built in. In Godot, you want to use the built-in help and download the Godot manual to have it offline. I also have the Krita manual here that's open right now. So Krita manual. And I should get the Godot one as EPUB. And scheduling the time you have for leisure, where you can have the internet, watch videos, etc. If you want to be really productive, this is what I do. So I have a time frame. I go maybe a little extreme, but I have a time frame at night from 7 to 8, where I will allow myself to play games, watch anything on YouTube, etc. And often I end up going out, meeting people instead, and I haven't been playing games or doing those kinds of things too much, and I feel good. That's the most important part, like feel good in my life, and I've been producing more complicated content than in the past, been more productive. Anyway, there'll be a few videos on that. Okay, so for the camera, I have something very basic. It's not great, but let's do that. No, I don't want to be in my org. Let's go back to the Metroidvania and commit that. Okay, so I'm going to add this, that. Well, we have to use... there's that problem with... okay. I don't want to commit that though. And I don't want to commit that on the camera. So these changes... This is okay. But this is not okay. I want to unstage that part. Okay. So we have camera rig. And edge detector. Okay. There was the on project.godot. I think I need to get the entire thing. No, this is the restart one. Okay, so improve camera movement, and what it does is camera horizontal movement. It uses both the input direction and character velocity. So the point is keeping it relatively simple right now. Okay, so now we have game.tsc, and what did we do? Actually, okay. I need to stage that maybe in the previous commits, I think. Okay, now project.godot and game.gd, and we add a restart. Okay, I'm trying to keep the commits more or less organized for this project, just not to make it too dirty. Have you tried overwriting the init function in the class? What for? I don't know if the message is for me or for someone else. Okay, next up we have actually I wanted to fix the ledge grab, but it will come later. Okay, so storing input. Jumping after full start. Right jump. Let me see. Well, this one. How do we design that? Because do we use? I mean, in Godot, input is a singleton. It's available everywhere. And okay, the message was not for me. Makes sense. Okay, so we have the input singleton. What I want to do is to store some inputs temporarily in an array or in a dictionary to dynamically register and unregister them. And I don't want that to be on the character, so and I want the snap detector to react to one of these events when they occur, a bit like if you were using the input function, unhandled input, for example. Let's see, so that would be snap detector. No, that's not the snap detector, that's the hook. So here I want the hook to not directly use unhandled input, but to have something. Okay, let's create a template for what I have in mind, and it's going to use unhandled delayed input. Or can we do it like that? Or unhandled continuous input, maybe? So it's going to be a function that instead of using unhandled input, self aim mode equals not aim mode. What was the aim function for? Okay, so I need to change that. Well, I think I will wrap this in a hook function. Okay, so I will wrap this into a function so I can move it around a little bit. And let's put a leading underscore because I don't want anyone else to call that. It's just going to be for inside the hook. Okay. And we mark the input as handled. Okay, so unhandled continuous input is a function that will be called continuously as long as there's some input. How can we... I have an idea. Well, I'm going to keep using unhandled input. Okay. And we're going to keep the same setup, like so. So there is a way in Godot to create input events, okay? And we are going to have a class that stores when an input event occurs, and until a timer is done, every tick, every frame, it's going to generate a fake input event. Okay, so we're going to keep the hook button for the player because it's one we might want to remap, and I'm going to have an action with a leading underscore, hook continuous, and we want another one, jump. Well, jump is a bit different. Jump is more Yeah, it's another problem. First, let's tackle the hook continuous, and hook continuous is going to not have anything. Let's see, it's mostly for auto completion. I don't remember how you do that, but hold on, we did it in one of our projects. So let's go here. Okay, I can search it with Nautilus like that. What was it? It was in Godot slides. And it was touch. Input event swipe, I think. Yeah, okay, so that was that. Input event swipe and then touch controls, I think. No. Ah, come on, we did that. Swipe detector, maybe? I think that's that. Does it... Yes, down here. Input.pass input event. How do we do that? Yeah, we create a new swipe object. Okay, perfect. We're going to do that. Okay. Do we have this on the character or globally in the game? Okay, I'm not sure where to put that one. I'm going to put it on the character for now and move it later. We're going to have a new node. Not a node 2D, just a node. And continuous input, continuous. And its role is going to generate input events. So if they pressed before the hook was in range. Okay. That would be an interesting advanced topic, I think, for the course. Generating custom input events. So we're going to add a timer in that. And the timer will be 0.05 seconds. Let's have a... I don't know if it's a large range or not. One shot. Okay. So... active inputs. Okay, so we're going to create a dictionary of input. Or an array. We're going to use physics process. And we are going for each input to each input will need its own timer though. I think, I'm not sure I can use a timer node here. It's going to produce so it's going to take input as a parameter, and input is going to be, what is it going to be? Let's see. Congratulations, Dennis. Dennis made his first contribution, well, merge contribution to Godot. Let's see. Okay. So, we're going to use unhandled input, and if we press the hook continuous action, we're going to thing is, I have to see the event being an object. I think we're going to use a dictionary. And we're going to append. Okay, so let's see. We're going to create a new dictionary variable. So var input is going to be. Oh, no, that's active inputs. Dot. I think we can. Well, can we do it like that? Continuous equals. I think you can use that notation with Godot. And now I need to create an event that represents hook. Okay, let's see the input class. Is there a helper function to do that? This will simulate pressing the specified action. There we go. I think that's the simplest way to do our work. So that way we don't have to store the event. Okay, and hook not in active input. What? What's the problem? Ah, it should be an array, like so. What did I do? What's the error? Okay. Ah. Yes, it's because it's not Python and not comes before the statement, not in the statement. Well, in Python you can do both. You can write not in. Input dot press, action press, hook. Okay, and not event, we're going to call it action name. Okay. So we're going to, and we need to do a few things. So every time we're going to record an event like that. So we press the hook continuous key. And Well, the thing is, hook continuous will be the hook, so let me see. Okay, we're just going to work with hook here. We're going to append the hook. Okay, and for action input names, we're going to simulate the action press. Now, when we do that, we want to remove that hook thing. So we want a func remove event name. Can't I use name here? It's going to remove the input action name from the array. So active input dot remove dot search. Find. Okay. Active input dot find name, but name being a variable on node, I think it's going to be, it might mess it up. So action name and let's call you action names. All right. So what we're going to do is, what do we do? Start a timer, get the tree dot start timer and can create use an asynchronous function. Okay, we're going to do that. So we're going to call remove I don't know if that's a good thing. I'll have to ask Razvan, who's the in charge for the responsible for the code structure in this project, to check me after that. But maybe he has a better solution. But on the fly on Sunday afternoon, that's the best I can come up with. So remove delayed hook. There's quite a bit of repetition here. Okay, and 005, and then we're going to down there, get the tree, create a timer, and of delay seconds, and we're going to yield on that. Wait for the timer to time out, and let's see. Then we do that. We'll remove the action from the array. Okay. Async function method. Removes the well, I'll just write its coroutine. Gravity Luad, you remove an event if it is just processed. So we're using a timer here to we're going to keep firing the action every frame for a certain time. What do we have here? Oh, GDScript. I kind of like how GDScript and how it isn't object oriented. And by that I mean not all things contained in class. Actually, every single file is a class. It's implicit in GDScript. I would say that Godot is object oriented to the bone right now. Everything you code is a class with your coding methods and properties. But now, it's pleasant to use, and it's not, let's say, it's not extremely important, because in Godot you have the node abstraction, and you have a very visual node tree and those kinds of things that help you stay productive and focus on, let's say, creating the game and the game's design, not think too much about object-oriented principles. To me, it's quite object-oriented. And GDScript is supposed to get, there are plans to add some more functional programming related features to the language. Lambda functions, I don't remember maps or things like these, few core functions to the language to process data more easily, to create more pure functions. But you can definitely code in a mostly procedural way and can work. So yeah, Godot helps you with object-oriented design. It does a lot of the work for you, but it's really object-oriented as far as I know. Okay, I think that's good. So let's see. Let's exaggerate. We're going to export a few values. Okay, so this should be private, and we are going to export timer duration. Let's see, 0.05, and we are going to have what else? I think that's good, does the job. And then a few just in case we change the hook input action name later, we're going to replace it. There we go. Timer duration, I'm going to crank it up to 1 second just for testing. And let's see. Normally it means that, so I press the hook action. Okay, I'm going to do it with that. So I can click. No? Doesn't work. Remove delayed and timer duration. Okay. Okay, what if I do this? Nope, doesn't work. I don't know how you are able to program with others while others watching. Well, I've done it a few times. It's hard to, I can focus better, code faster when I'm not live, to be honest, because I have to jump with the chat and think about saying things out loud with, well, obviously if I'm alone, I'm just coding and everything is in my head and I don't think with words. Dennis is saying, I always get confused using Godot and the underscore. What I understood is anything underscore is virtual, right? Not private. How would you know the difference without actually knowing the class names? So, in Godot, there are, for the node class, there are a few method names with a leading underscore, and the convention is that these are virtual, and there are just a few. So in general, in Python, and for most developers, the leading underscore, well, Python developers in particular, but it's used also by GDScript developers, Godot users. Leading underscore can mean private, and for property names you would use that. And so I used it as well we use that for private at GDQuest. We hesitated. Razvan was suggesting to use 2 leading underscores, but I don't like that in Python already. It's GDScript being very simple, we wanted to keep the syntax simple. It's just an indication to not try to access these things, and you use that for auto-completion as well, because the things with a leading underscore, if you're just typing letters, they will not come first in the list, so this also helps with that. The camera froze. Webcam. Oh, the webcam's frozen. Let's see. Screencast, webcam. Yeah, the webcam's frozen. Why is that? What happened? Buddy? How can I unfreeze the bad boy? Let's see. Where are you? There. Unplug. Replug. Computer magic. No, it didn't work. Okay, it's stuck full now. Anyway, it's been one hour probably, so I'm going to finish that, make it work, and then be gone, because I have a trip to prepare. Sorry, you'll have to do without my face, which I think you're not losing too much in the exchange. Okay, I need to check that the action is in there. Okay. And action name is hook. So it's going to do that. Hold on, let's reset the timer to the original value, so it should do that for 2 or 3 frames. What? Okay, so it doesn't get removed from the array. Okay, so instead of trying to find the action, we're going to use the action ID, and it's going to be an integer. I'm going to remove the action ID, and this action ID will be action name dot size -1. This will be more reliable for 1. Let's see if now we manage to get that removed from the array. There we go. Did work. Okay. Whoa. Computer didn't like that. Alright, so. Maybe I shouldn't try to make it general, because I don't know if we'll be tracking any other input in there, but let's see. I don't know exactly where I messed up with that. It doesn't press the action for us. Okay, there's a little issue with F8 with killing the game. I joined the live stream. Okay, I'm so pretty that I'm going to, on your request, I want everyone to see that it's on your request. I'm putting my face back on screen, and sorry, it will be stuck. I've done all the debug things I could do as a professional IT guy. I've done crazy things such as unplugging and replugging the webcam. I can't do anything else. Maybe I could try to write some shell script to restart the Eldrow's saying try input by keycode just to test it. Let's see if we can. Yeah, that might be, but let's see if I can hide, show it back, lock, unlock. No, really, I have no idea. I don't want to spend too much time on that because I'm going to end the stream pretty soon. Write the script that flips the webcam every 2 seconds so it looks it moving. Yeah. Try to, Altro was saying try input by keycode just to test it, and that's a good idea. So let's go back to the input class and see action pressed, action release. How can so I can pass an input event, but that's for custom inputs with where you have extend input event in the first place. Starjoy wrap. GUID, gyroscope, gravity, connected joypads, joy mapping. I only have that, and you put simulate pressing. Simulates pressing the action, but is it working? I need to check somewhere else if I'm getting the action multiple times. So let's say we're going to put it here, or let's see, quite simply here. No, input.press action is not doing the work for me. .action press. Well, I was getting in that loop, and action name is equal to hook. And in those cases, I never know if I'm facing a bug. So see, I'm here in the debugger, I can step into it, and the action name is hook. So the value is correct. But input.action press is not giving me an input event here. So let's try injecting an input event manually. I think at this point I should really pick up C++ and do some minor contributions like these, when sometimes I stumble upon things like these where they might be bugs and I'm not sure. I should test that. What are the properties? I have a device, input event, action. Okay, I guess we can do it like that. So okay, we're going to create a new input event action, and event.action is going to be action name, and we're going to use input.pass the event that we just created, and we should be fine. Input event action. What? It's a type. How come I can't create it? My bad. Okay. No, it doesn't work either. Okay, if someone could test that somewhere, trying to just call the press action thing. Is the bugs detector as good as Visual Studio? I'm not sure what that means, actually. Control utils. That might have been the issue we had earlier. Okay. Pulse input event. Let's see, but normally, I mean, I've used it for. Okay, so we have the action name. The event is an object with the action set to hook, and yeah, let's dot pressed equals true as well. I should add that. Ah, it works. Ah, I see. I know why. I know why it was not working. It's because when you call, so that function, input dot. Let's go back to input and action press. Simulate pressing the specified action. Well, the action is not pressed. Okay, let me write this down for later. It's going to be my holiday, so I don't want to work too much on that, but let's capture that. Does not set the press property the okay, and that will be fine. Does Godot have a built-in profiler? Yes, in the debugger profiler tab. And these kinds of things, you have a few monitors you can put in the game. Well, you can have a graph in the editor, video memory, and I don't know if it's. I haven't used the profiler a lot, I must say. I just know the basics. I remember that we had Reme work on a video for that. I do more, I focus on the game design part. And until we face real performance issues, it's a bit hard to use and to cover the profiler properly, to not just talk gibberish. Okay. So well, this is working, and so now we're going to have that. Okay, so problem is 0.05 is too short to see the effect. Ah, come on. It's lagging a little bit. Let's put you up to 0.1, but then the thing that's interesting is that if we build some kind of... I would like us to talk. Hey. Yeah, this controller is not working. I bought it like 2 months ago. That's a pity. Yeah, it's pretty good. So now when you tap quickly, you're going to catch the hooking point even if you miss it by a short margin. I don't know which value. See, I'm clicking right before hitting the point and the character is still going to hook. Then gotta fine tune the value because it might be a bit too much, 0.1 seconds. But if we build an assist mode for the game, the advantages we can have for people who have disabilities. So we have that key. For now it's only on the controller that allows you to slow down time. Hold on, I'm going to add right click to that to show you. And well, right click, the best key ever for that. Where is it? Sprint, aim. It's aim. It's the F key. What was I thinking with an F? Like so. So you have unlimited time to aim. Boo, boo. With good sounds. I think it could be nice. Okay. Yeah, it's working nicely. 0.08, so at 60 frames per second we get an input event for 5 frames, but it seems to be more than that. Every 0.17 seconds, so 0.017. How many frames do we want? 5 frames? I should remove the print yes in the print space in the shutsuryoku. The word is not coming. Output tab. The console. There you go. And in Japanese it's called shutsuryoku, which means like out, and false, yoku being the kanji for false. I'm trying to get a feel for whether this is fair or... Yeah, it seems to be doing the trick now. Helps you don't really realize it, but you can feel it. What is your favorite thing about Godot? Okay, let me finish that. I'm going to comment that and then answer. Please put me all your questions down in the chat, and we're going to do a little QA to wrap this up. Well, it's so input for the hook. Okay, so we have okay, that's good. That's done. The code is okay. I'll do the trick for now. Let's see. So I want my input continuous and the rest That's it, isn't it? Well, okay, let's do that. That's more refactoring, it's fine. And this is all we need. See, yeah, input continuous. What can we say about that? Stalls, hook input. Few frames, so the player can if they miss it by a small margin. Okay, push that and I'm done. Okay, so what's your favorite thing about Godot? What's my favorite thing? Honestly, it's a mix of things. I would say I like the direction of the project and the cohesion from the development team and contributors. The fact that Juan and Reme are organizing the project pretty well despite the numerous people who interact on it, and despite it being a young free and open source project, it already feels very professional, and it's growing really quickly. I think that would be that. And if you're talking about Godot, the program itself, the editor, I really like how extensible it is. The fact that the editor is a Godot game, and so you can create tool scripts. You will see this tutorial probably this week, the platform Waypoint 1, where you can have things like these. So you can draw the path a platform is going to move in the viewport very easily. It's missing. I had removed one line. Where was it? There we go. So you can quickly make changes and see the code is running in the editor right now. So the platform is moving from point to point, and so this is a complete moving platform system where you don't even have to start the game to know what you're doing. And the thing that I like about it is if the drawing code for the waypoints is a bit custom, the moving platform, there's nothing. It's pretty much the game code, and I'm just adding the tool keyword so it runs in the editor. There you go. And one conditions, 3 lines of code, 1 keyword plus 2 lines of code. Then someone's asking, can you do a tutorial on simulating mouse joint in 2D to pick rigid body with the mouse? No, we have too many. Yeah, I see. Too much stuff to do at the moment. The webcam is frozen for everyone. I wanted to remove it, but people were shouting in the chat that I was too sexy, and if I didn't put the webcam back on, they would leave. Yeah, I'm really still and chill, looking down to the right continuously. What else can we say? Yeah, so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Abhishek, is it? Sorry, I'm not sure about the pronunciation, but I have many things to cover and work on right now, and I've done a few extra videos. When I feel they align with the project we're working on, like this one, the moving platform, I will consider tutorial requests, but for now, then we really have a lot of work to do. Okay, no more questions? I know I can't hear the music, by the way, so sorry if it sounds awful, the background. I want you to know that I learned a lot from you. Thank you very much. You're very much welcome. Is your webcam frozen? Nope. It's actually just I'm moving in slow motion, slowing down time. That joke was terrible. Forget it. I make lots of bad jokes. That's actually why I don't try to add humor into the videos. It's because I think most of the time it would fail badly. Okay, I'm going to close the stream and head out before getting back to work, doing more work, and going on vacation, hopefully. Not too destroyed. He's concentrating super hard, and that's a good one. Yeah, I'm just too focused on code. Or maybe I need to go to the bathroom. It's one or the other. I look more like an emo suffering, you know, I hate life. Why is there no arrow in the last part of the line for the platform? Because there's no code to add that arrow to the list at the end. That's it. I mean, it's not that necessary. That's one of the points, one of the things you'll see it's a very long tutorial that's coming out this week, but one thing I was saying is if you have small bugs or if you don't draw anything in the viewport, you shouldn't bother if it's for yourself or your project. So I would need to wrap the part where I generate the triangles in a function and call that function in a loop plus once after the loop for the last 2 points, or change the code for that. Even if it's going to take you 5 minutes or 10 minutes, it's best to move on. Just like drawing the last line, it's not very important. When are you going to do 3D tutorials? So I mentioned it at the start of the video that we have to finish the new features in Godot 3.1 series, but we're waiting on an animated 3D character to do that. So there is Luciano, a professional animator, working on that, and we're waiting to get our hands on this. How is shader programming in Godot doable? It's good. It's simpler than working with regular CG or Hlsl or Glsl for that matter, as Godot simplifies, it generates shader variations for you or switches, handles them for you. Now, Calluses, a contributor, has worked for the next version of Godot on improvements. Let me find that. Calluses shader Godot improvement. There you go. So a better, yeah, lots of improvements to the shader editor, because you have a visual shader editor. So that is really nice. And he's done, he's added, there you go, new functions from Glsl, which are all scalar functions to vector, blah, blah, blah. Okay, almost, yeah, so now it's going to be more complete from the next version. So there you go. For example, one I was looking for actually in a tutorial I recorded that's also coming out soon. I was looking for that grayscale function, and there you go. You're going to have it. So it's going to get better, simpler moving forward. You can read that. I'm going to post the link in the chat. There you go. And we have a series to learn shader programming. GDQuest. Are you able to get AAA level post-processing effects in GLES2? Yes, because if you have a GLES2 version of a game, if you make a AAA game and you're going to run it on very old devices, AAA or not, you have to make some concessions, so you can get the same level of quality they could get, that is, yeah, with some limitations. But you can't get the PBR, the full PBR workflow, the advanced techniques, coloring, let's say, with GLES2. So if you want to get high-end graphics and to make your game available for low-end platforms, it's tricky. You need the resources to do that. So you'll want to be making your game for your highest target platforms and to port it to GLES2 once it's done, and then maintain the two versions of the game. There you go. This series, let's copy the link location. Yeah. Altro is asking, did you manage to get the key press function? Yes, and now that you are here, the problem was that actually the built-in function on input that generates a key press doesn't seem to set the input events pressed property to true, which you need when you check is action pressed to get true, to get the action to work. So if I go back to my input continuous, what I've done here in physics process is I'm creating an input event action object manually and setting the event.press, the property, to true. There you go. How about multiplayer? Is there going to be a tutorial in the future? We've done a very basic one. If we do a series, I'd like us to do it right. Possibly, but possibly. It's not planned yet. For now, we have the 2D and 3D Metroidvania series, so the course from the Kickstarter to do. A few months of work ahead. And there are things I want to do. I want to start contributing to the Blender sequencer instead of writing an add-on, contributing to Blender straight, because it's the tool that we use at GD Quest. Now we are multiple editors, persons doing videos, working with it, and it would take as much time to contribute to the source program. And I think before doing something like multiplayer or those kinds of things, I want to finish this project, and I would like to do a short project series where I do contributions to a few free and open source software that I'm working on, and do some devlogs and explain how you work with free software in general, how you contribute and how you can help make it better. So I'd like to do Blender, Sequencer, Godot, obviously, and Krita, contributing in Python, C, and C++. Yeah, so Altro is sharing a solution to another solution to the problem, saying you can check if the event is a key and you get the scan code. But the thing is, you will get that event when you release the key as well, not just when you press it. So you will get both events. When you are generating the event, it might not matter. But there you go. Do you have any design tips? Honestly, I have design tips for hours and days. What I can recommend, if you want design tips, is that you check our recent video with Mr. Helmet, because he has some excellent he has a lot of experience and he has some really good insights on okay, I was like, whoa, are the videos out? You can see there are a few videos up on the channel. This one is going to be fun. I'm curious to see how people react to a video about how create tutorials, but it was for the team, so I decided to, because I was making for the people working at GD Quest and future people working with us, I decided to make it available to all fellow tutorial makers. Anyway, I think that closes it for now. And yeah, thank you very much for joining the stream. I'll try to do more moving forward on top of the videos we're creating. And at least for the time I'm here and I have reliable internet. So, as a reminder, I'll be away for roughly 10 days. I'm going on holidays tomorrow in the south of Japan. Actually, I'm going to meet one of you. And I'm really looking forward to that. And I was going to see the forest that was used as a base to draw the backgrounds in Princess Mononoke from Ghibli Studios. And there have been record floods, historical rainfall yesterday, and today it's the same, so probably not going to be possible. But I'll try to make a video. I'm going to take the camera and shoot on the way. So, my head is still stuck, but I want to thank you kindly for joining. Be creative, have fun, and see you in the next one.